Hi friends, it's Kristine Vicente with Queen City Stamp Art. Happy New Year. Today I'm going to be bringing you a clean and simple sympathy card that we're going to whip up together. And we're going to be using some products from the brand new Stampin' Up! Mini Catalog, January to June, and also a stamp set featured in the Sale-a-Bration catalog. Now with Sale-a-Bration, when you spend $50 in either the January to June mini or the annual catalog, you can pick something for free out of the Sale-a-Bration catalog. Now, there are many things to pick from. There's all different types of paper packets and stamp sets. There are even some $100 level rewards that you can choose from if your order reaches $100 before tax and shipping. So I just wanted to show you a little sneak peek of a couple of things. These catalogs go live on January 5th, which is Tuesday. If you're on my mailing list, you probably either have received them or will be receiving them within the next day or so. Keep your eye out in your mail for those. And if you would like them, you can just email me at queencitystampart@gmail.com and I'll send you a copy. We're going to be using papers from the mini catalog in the Valentine section. This beautiful paper packet is called True Love Designer Series paper, and there are some metallic pinks for this product suite, but this particular designer series paper is black and white, and it has some beautiful patterns, floral patterns, and then some solids. So this is the floral pattern side of all the papers, and then if you flip it over, you get all these great standard neutral patterns that you can use that are in black and white. So let's look at these papers a little more closely. So you have this beautiful one, and this one is really pretty too, very clean. These florals are the ones we're going to be using today. And then there's a few more. There's this one with the roses, and some more roses, and some more, these are some little tiny daisies, which are really pretty. So you get 2 sheets of each, and it's a great, great paper packet. So today for this card, what I did was, we're going to be using a stamp set in the Sale-a-Bration catalog that you can get for free. And this is called Heal Your Heart. It has a number of sentiments, 6 different sentiments that are all related to, there's a thank you, wishing I could heal your heart, sorry for your loss, we're in this together, and then there's a couple of smaller ones. I can't promise to always fix your problems, but I can promise you won't ever face them alone. And I don't know what I would do without you. So these are some nice little sub-sentiments that can go with any of the ones that are shown here. So this is going to be a fun stamp set, and you can get that free with a $50 order after January 5th. So we're going to be using one of the sheets of the Designer Series paper, from True Love Designer Series paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to color a couple of flowers using the Stampin' Blends markers. So I picked light and dark Rococo Rose and light and dark Old Olive for the coloring portion. And so let's start with dark Rococo Rose, and I'm going to use the brush tip. And the nice thing about this paper is that these flowers have little hash marks where the shading should go. So it makes it very easy to color them if you're just kind of coloring them on your own. You don't have to color this paper. You can certainly just use it in a black and white, but it is fun to color it if you like to color. So I'm just going to brush on a little bit of the darkest marker in some of the shaded areas, just to give this flower a little bit more dimension than if I just colored it solid with one of the markers. So I'm just trying to look for the darker areas and just add a little bit, just a few little strokes of color where it's the darkest, or where the shadows, I guess, would be. Then I'm going to take my light Rococo Rose marker, and I'm going to use the brush tip, and I'm going to go over the whole thing, the whole flower. And what happens is when you add just a tiny bit of color in the darkest areas where you want the darkest to show up, you get a nice variation of color when you add the lighter marker, especially in the areas where you didn't color at all the first time. It creates a nice contrast in color. And since I'm going to be cutting this out with my scissors, my detail scissors, I don't have to worry too much about staying too close within the lines because I'm going to be cutting right up to the line. So the coloring actually goes very quickly. Then I'm going to take my old olive markers and do something similar. I'm going to stay darkest toward the base where it's the closest to the flower, because that's, I think, where the shading would be and where it would be darkest, and then also toward the middle of the stem on the flower, on the leaf. And then I'll take my light marker and use small circular motion to color over the whole leaf and blend out that dark. Just like that. Then I'm going to take my snips and I'm going to go in here and just kind of cut out the flower. Try not to hit the other flowers, because I think I'll probably end up using this whole sheet as colored in flowers at some point over the next few months. And so I'm just going to cut this out like that. And then I'll use my scissors to cut more closely and really kind of fussy cut the whole flower. And if you work to move your image, like your piece of paper, rather than your scissors, it makes for cutting very easy. Very easy fussy cutting. So I'm just kind of rotating the paper as I close the scissors. And I'm not going to make you watch me cut the whole thing out because I've actually already prepped and cut one ahead. And this is what you end up with, this really pretty die cut looking flower. So we'll take the rest of the supplies, and this is a fairly simple card. I've got a sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock that I cut down the center, so it measures 4 1/4 inches by 11, and then I scored it at 5.5. And I'm just going to take my bone folder here and make that nice and crisp. And then I cut a little strip of one of the other patterns, and we're going to use the neutral pattern on the back side as our layer. And I'm just using a little bit of wet adhesive here. And we're going to glue this to the bottom. So what we end up with is a side folding landscape card like this. And then this was a tiny bit too long, so I'm just going to use my snips to snip it off. Just like that. Then for the sentiment, I chose Sorry for Your Loss from the stamp set. We're going to use the Memento black ink pad. Just ink that up. And I cut a little strip of scrap cardstock. So I'm just going to stamp that sentiment a little bit to the right side and then trim it off at an angle like that. Then we're going to add more adhesive to the back of this and add this to the base card. Right here. Just like that. Then we'll add dimensional adhesive to this piece to pop it up. And since it's paper and not cardstock, I'm going to add a few extra pieces of foam adhesive just to make sure it stays nice and stable in case I have to mail this out. It'll go through the mail a little bit better if you use a little bit more dimensional adhesive on it. Just like this. And now we're going to add this to the base card here. So it pops up a little and gives it a little bit of dimension. Then to finish this off, I thought maybe a little piece of twine would be nice. I normally, if it had been a different sentiment, probably would have added some sort of a sequin or gemstone to make it sparkle. But I'm going to keep this one a little bit more subdued, and we'll add some of this linen thread, which I also love. And I'm just going to take a glue dot here, and I'm going to put the knot of the bow on the glue dot and just kind of pick it off and tuck it here next to the flower. Just like that. And that finishes off the card for today. So I hope you enjoyed this card and got a simple idea for using that beautiful True Love Designer Series paper. This is a great paper for your stash because it goes with all different colors. You can use it plain black and white and then add other elements that have a pop of color to create some beautiful, really stunning cards. So thanks so much for tuning in today. Take care.